Many capable people slow down in their careers, not because they lack ability, but because they carry a quiet belief. If I'm good enough, I don't need anyone else. That belief sounds strong, but in a world that has already changed, it gradually becomes an invisible limit. The world you're living in now is no longer a world of linear problems. Big challenges rarely have only one perspective, and sustainable solutions almost never come from a single mind. Individual intelligence hasn't disappeared. It's just no longer sufficient on its own. You can be right, but being right alone usually only takes you a very short distance. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "What is good for the hive cannot be bad for the bee." This line isn't about morality. It's about the structure of strength. A ruler of an empire doesn't think as an isolated individual. He sees the world as a living system, where every part is connected and no one is truly strong standing alone. If individual thinking is the starting point, systemic thinking is where power multiplies. If you want to train your mind the way the calmest leaders have, subscribe to this channel. We're not chasing short-term motivation. We're building a mental foundation strong enough for the long road. And to do that, we need to reset how we understand intelligence. James Cash Penny once said something worth sitting with. The best teamwork comes from people who can work independently, but move together toward one goal. This cuts straight through a common misunderstanding. Many people assume that collaboration means making yourself less sharp, as if intelligence is something that has to be divided. The truth is the opposite. Collaboration doesn't ask you to give up your intelligence. It asks you to mature in how you use the intelligence of others. And this is where a different kind of intelligence emerges. Collaborative intelligence begins with a fundamental realization. The whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. The inexperienced mind asks, who's right? The more developed mind asks, which perspective are we missing? It's just one different question, but it changes the entire direction of thinking. A subtle shift, yet a decisive one, from defending the ego to expanding the picture. Satya Nadella did exactly this when he took over Microsoft. He didn't try to become the smartest person in the room. He chose to become the one who connected the intelligence in the room. When the role shifts, the system shifts with it. That single transition from "I need to be right" to "we need to see clearly" changed an entire organization. So the real question becomes, how do you turn that mindset into concrete action? The strongest teams are rarely the most similar ones. Similarity creates comfort. Real strength comes from well-managed differences. Total agreement is not a sign of strength. It's often a sign that perspectives haven't been challenged. High-functioning groups are places where disagreement exists, but within a clear frame. Mutual respect and a shared goal large enough to matter. With the right structure, disagreement stops being a threat. When guided properly, difference doesn't create conflict, it creates competitive advantage. Through years of coaching and working with leadership teams, one pattern shows up again and again across every industry. Weak teams react first with rejection. Strong teams react first with continuation. The difference isn't IQ, it's attitude toward other people's ideas. A mature group knows how to keep thinking space open. They don't ask, is this idea right or wrong? They ask, what does this add to the overall picture? From that question, the right tools begin to work. Strategy 1. The yes and discipline. This is a core principle of creative collaboration. No immediate rejection. No competition for being right. Just one simple move. Build forward. Yes, and we could take it further by... It sounds small. Its impact is not. This structure does 3 things at once. It acknowledges the other person's contribution, keeps the exchange from becoming defensive, and expands the shared thinking space. More importantly, this isn't just a communication trick. It's a discipline for managing ego in a group. And when ego is placed correctly, collective intelligence starts to operate. Strategy 2. The 6 thinking hats. Edward de Bono designed this framework not to make people smarter, but to help groups think more completely without attacking one another. Each hat represents a distinct mode of thinking. This section remains unchanged. When roles rotate clearly, people become less defensive. Groupthink weakens, and the group begins to see problems from multiple angles without turning disagreement into personal conflict. In the end, every framework only matters when it's applied. Immediate application. For any meeting or discussion, this section remains unchanged. The rhythm already works. When you step back and look at everything, a common pattern appears. The sharpest leaders are rarely the loudest voices in the room. They are the ones who connect best the intelligence around them. Marcus Aurelius didn't rule by always being right. He ruled through the ability to place the good of the whole above personal ego. Satya Nadella didn't lead Microsoft by knowing everything. He led by amplifying the intelligence of others. That is the essence of collaborative intelligence. It doesn't make you smaller, it makes the system around you larger. It doesn't blur your identity, it doesn't take away who you are. Instead, it allows your vision to extend beyond your own limits. True leaders don't need to be the source of every answer. They need to be the ones who keep the shared thinking system clear, ordered, and oriented toward what matters. And when that happens, the group doesn't just function better, it matures.